Go.
I'm so delighted that you have prepped. I think it's absolutely fantastic. However, do you remember whenever we were going through change management, we talked about two types of changes, an incremental change and a fundamental change? And I'm going to impose an incremental change on you this morning. And I'm going to swap your team leaders. So Jim, you're now going to be working with Team Rockets, and Louise, you're going to be working with Team Diamonds.
Oh, nonsense. We swapped our team leaders.
You preempted me there. Just give you 5 minutes just to get to know your team leader and also to talk about your roles and responsibilities and if there's any other roles within your team. So go for it.
We thought with a minute take on Mark, we thought would take charge of the financial stuff if we needed it.
Sarah had some level of expertise in
rules were rules were
No,
that if
she
we
didn't.
had big decisions, we would vote in the big decisions, and it would be majority rule. If there was a split across the board, then you as the team leader would have the final say. Silence is agreement, so if you don't agree, speak up. And no idea is a bad idea, or just no bad ideas.
It's been completely different, and obviously the way that we had split out the roles and that were because we had some specialists within the team who had like specialist knowledge. So like Gary had, you know, charity volunteer work, and we also had Sarah is like in the mental, she's like the mental first aider for GEM and stuff like that. So we. But
this is why, because we've no skills like that in our team.
Yeah.
That I'm aware of.
Well, that's it. Well, we went around looking at
I
skills,
barely have social skills.
Plus, we looked at then at financial, because then obviously we had to come up with a budget. So we looked at who was going to look after the financials and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this is like completely different. I think as team leader, like there is certain guidelines, like the sort of rules, and I'm sure your team leader had went through them with you as well, as to what they expected, sort of the team. Maybe.
Not
no?
really, no.
Okay, listen, I think they're pretty straightforward. It's basically, it was your, A is your silences agreement. Second rule was we had to get 100% buy-in from everybody in the team. There was no such thing as a bad idea. So, but the thing is, we want ideas from everybody. I don't want just one or two people giving the ideas. And the only sort of reason that I would really need to get involved is if, in the case of serious deadlock, then my decision would sway the vote. But generally, there shouldn't be a reason for that.
Team leads, have you settled in well within the teams? Excellent. Okay, Bernie from the project's going to come in a couple of minutes, and she's actually going to take you around. She's going to show you where the computers and the internet access is for the day. You will be presenting back to Sir Alan, Nick and Margaret at 3 p.m. today, as well as some representatives from the Simon community. So you will need to have your presentations completed for them. What I do have is a copy of your task. So Barry, I shall hand it to you. Peter, I shall pass that to you.
Pass that to Jim.
If you would like to discuss it throughout your teams, just to let you know, there will be smaller challenges throughout the day that will affect your task. But good luck, guys. Go for it.
I'm sure you're aware of Simon. We actually work with 17 to 26-year-olds. These guys are actually coming in with mental health problems. They're coming in straight from care. They're coming from probation, maybe even asylum seekers. So there's a varied house, and every single person, and I'm sure you got your wee case studies, is very, very different. here, yes, it provides accommodation for homeless people, but the other end of it was there was a commitment to training and employment, and the idea was that you came in and you were in for 3 months, and that allowed you time to get over the trauma that you maybe have suffered, or it gave you a chance to settle in, get themselves sorted, get their benefits, medical help that they needed, maybe get the educational advice that would allow them maybe to start in September. We find that a lot of the kids are not used to having independence. The idea here is that you can have someone stay overnight, you can have visitors. If you're over 18, you can have alcohol. It's to promote the fact that the big bad world, all of these things happen and you have to be able to deal with them. The problems that we would face with someone who isn't working is the budgeting. For some of our guys, their insecurities are such that they are not fit to go to college. They haven't got to that stage. So if we can do that in-house and get them to a stage where, well, actually I can go down and I can enrol, that's what we're wanting. Or get them to the stage where they're confident enough to actually put an application in, even though there's nothing on it. And that's the problem. They don't have necessarily anything to go on a CV. So it's actually making them realise, look, you've got this, look, you're brilliant, you can talk to anybody, whatever. So it's showing them what they can do. And that's why the training and employment element is here. And it's not just homelessness, it's preventing homelessness. It's taking somebody through the process. You're homeless, let's get you sorted, let's help you through it, let's get you into accommodation that you can sustain yourself so you're not representing. And that is the aim. And I don't actually have a service users room to show you today because the idea is it's their room, and other than the fact that we would check it once a month, we don't go into it unless we're frightened of the health and safety and the concerns that we have for it. So us actually asking them to show you guys their room just wouldn't be appropriate. But I'll give you a wee nosy round anyway.
I think most of it is going to come down purely to the educational side. The fact that he needs to be motivated, he needs to do stuff. Encouraging him to go to a class where he's going to earn the extra money or get a bonus at the end for his education and have something to do at the end of it.
What I basically done was I'd done a food plan, to a budget as to healthy food for us as cheap as possible.
I think it's an option.
If we do scenarios, if you live here, this is travel costs. If you live here, this is travel.
Yeah, I think the orientation plan focuses on the wider, and then our presentation should focus on we take this scenario, and we take the person to live in this Simon community, be focused on this area.
Well, if you look here,
we have to do Cave Hill, St Field, Falls, Cutty Park, Avenue, Antrim Road, Northern Road, Lisburn, and Kona and Bangor.
see, look, Lisburn there. See if you live in Newry, you're at £88 when you cover for travel for a month.
Yeah, good point.
I'm sure you know our judges. We have the lovely Sir Alan. In the middle, please, Sir Alan, on the black chair. And we have the lovely Nick and Margaret will also be joining us for our presentation.
So who's up first?
Diamond.
Your team Diamond, and apologies to the rough cuts. I know you were gutted to lose me this morning, but you might not be so sure after the end of this. The first thing for us and the first sort of change that we had to accommodate was the fact that obviously this was a brand new case study for me coming on board as a team lead. It was completely different to the case that we were looking at previously, and it was a learning curve, I think, all round for us. But one of our key learns, I think, was that we were able to actually work together in the end of the day and able to pull together, and hopefully we'll be able to guide you through this presentation. We had been tasked with two main challenges. One, designing the orientation pack, and the second one being the 2-week budget that proposed obviously food, shopping, entertainment costs, travel costs and toiletries. He's very low self-esteem, although he's quite clever. I mean, he's looking to run his own business, you know, and trying to get back up on his feet again. Yes, he's in some serious debt, and one of the areas that we wanted to put onto the debt management crisis numbers, and we think that that's something that we do need to add on in there. So he does have a number of qualifications, little motivation, big dreams that he'll have his own business, but he's not pursuing any course of action that will ensure this happens. For us, the service charges and the food obviously came top of the bill. Travel ended up number 5. You know, there was enough budget in the entertainment allowance, the £10 we've given to entertainment, so that if this person decided that they did want to use that as part of their travel throughout the week, they could do that. Methodologies used: force field diagram, decision trees and rational decision making. Just some of the things that we used. We had 2 different camps of whether the mobile was an essential piece of business or whether it wasn't. One of the deciding factors was, because of this particular case study and this particular individual, if he's trying to start himself up in business, he's going to need contacts, you know, to be able to contact him directly, trying to get even employers maybe to look at him. We felt that it was very much an important piece of kit that he needed to have. Within GEM, we're currently running a lot of projects for people that work alongside us, and we think that some of them would be really beneficial to the guys in the Simon community. Interview skills, you know, work experience, fundraising, weekly newsletters, job opportunities, advice on learning and development opportunities. Okay, so our key learns: to allow the margin of flexibility. This came down to budget as much as anything else, and that the individuality of the person needs to be, I know Dermot laughed at this one when we put this one together, encompassed into the communal framework, and that although we were looking at the case study, looking at the individual, we tried to keep in the back of our minds that there is a bigger picture here, and that anything that we do with this individual, you know, needs to be able to be done with any person that comes into the framework. And also, time management is key. As much as you think you have enough time, there's always a rush at the end, and you know, hopefully you know, we've given you an overview of how we've spent our day.
The reason Rough Cut's name was chosen is because it's diamonds with an edge. It's always an unfinished business. We're from the management and business support from GEM. Before we came in, we all had our own perceptions of what the Simon community did. Personally, all I thought it was a home for the homeless. But after being shown around today with everything that's on, it's quite amazing what actually goes on and what is. Guidance and support services, helping to change the perception of homelessness throughout, helping asylum seekers, and also the relaxed atmosphere and the hope that everybody will be dependent on themselves with a little guidance and help along the way. The 3 objectives we came across today was the development of an orientation pack, the creation of a service user budget, and the creation of this presentation itself. The budget itself, we were given £88 for every fortnight, £21 of which was service charges. We worked out £5.60 for laundry charges, which is 2 washes and 2 dries a week for coloured clothes and for white clothes. Initially, in the outset, weeks 1 and 2 would be more expensive because we can buy for further along the line and things would roll over. So week 1 and 2 was £25.80. The toiletry costs as well were higher in the first 2 weeks at £3.23. We also had a discussion on one of the changes that came in today with the mobile phone. In order to offset any possible debt that may arise, the pay-as-you-go was the one we came up with most, and also to keep her in touch with their family, with work. From week 3 onwards, we were able to put aside £2.50 towards savings. The key learns that we had today was who are the Simon communities. Also to effectively react to and manage the real-time changes to the plans we had. So the plans we made had to be flexible enough to allow change, as it would somebody living on a really tight budget. Things will change day and daily for that. The difficulties of surviving on an extremely limited budget. Actually living on £88 for 2 weeks and taking off the £21 is quite amazing to be able to survive on that. And we looked at what we may be spending coffees out, on clothes, whatever, and it got quite embarrassing, thinking that you could actually survive on a lot less, and how well off we are, whether it's with our employment, with our work, with our family, with everything that we have, and people are trying to live on £88. And also coming in, the relevance of the ILM course that we're doing, it's okay to go through it on paper, to learn it, just off your head and say, yes, I know this, I know Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but actually put it into task and put it into relevance. And how we incorporate that into a real life project was excellent. The time management and the effectiveness of delegation. And then we came to how we as GEM can contribute. And also the donation of our bun budget should be once a month, that instead of buying GEM the free buns and scones on Friday, that money is given to charity, and in this case to the Simon community. The fundraising activities that are ongoing, there's a lot of things on the websites, there's walks, there's sponsorship, there's payroll giving, just to highlight the necessity and the urgency of that. There's also our time and expertise, which Philip, you led to earlier, for interview skills, for things we can do, CV writing, employment. And then one thing it did raise a lot of money, sending Philip to jail again and maybe paying to keep him there rather than to get him out.
I mean, really send him to jail?
Really send him to jail.
One of the things that came out of that was some individuals come into here with very low esteem. It's another area where we can support in terms of even the likes of interview skills. So if we can't give them a specific job, then how can we prepare them for a job somewhere else? And I think everyone here has at some time spent time interviewing people, so you know what you're looking for. Bringing them into our sort of environment, booking an interview room, after hours, that sort of thing. We've got that sort of facility, and if we were doing that maybe once a month, you're still supporting people, so it's good to see. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Sometimes not always asking about money. Sometimes always saying, okay, in your shopping, put in extra shampoo, because even you think about the cost of toiletries.
Well, I was even saying to Noreen the other day, when we go travelling, we're in hotels, it's free. All we have to do is,
yes.
I actually brought some back from
so
Budapest.
have I.
I've started now.
I take it back, and I've got it in a bag for the Simon community, so that you just.
I couldn't understand how £3.23 on toiletries.
No.
We were
not
saying
real figures, really, when you consider a shower gel's 99p.
But the other thing really hit me. They're limited by Tesco's, aren't they? They really need a car to go out of town to go to Lidl.
But sure, you look at the area where it is.
I know.
You've got students, then you have quite well off.
So it's be very expensive for them to eat
element of those.
I thought the second group.
Second group by far.
Yeah.
I thought the second one was
pretty
clear. I thought it was more focused on the task,
and also the
the
learns and what we could do for them.
What we could do with them was I think a lot more focused, because I think the other team focused more on what they could do for entertainment, and it wasn't really appropriate to
I suppose there is the element of there just isn't the money for entertainment. I suppose it was
but if you look at their sheet, there's 4 elements that out of the whole thing that are appropriate to entertainment, and so
events coming up which you probably can't afford.
10 thing under here. That's 1, 2, and 3.
I'd love to go there.
We're going with Team Rough Cuts,
Yeah.
So we had the diamonds and the rough cuts. When we looked at the objectives, what was actually asked of and what was delivered in the presentation, we felt that one probably just had the edge, and we all agreed on who that one was. So, rough cuts, you're hard. What we were saying, and I asked Charmaine to see if you can all get together after this and see how we can implement it, and maybe bring it into the management team and say, right, this is what we'd like to do. And on the budget, if we have like a case study, send it out once a fortnight, once a month, whatever it is, to GEM staff and get people to vote on what we're going to support Show people see that we're spending it, because what tends to happen is if we just cut the spend, then you'll get the skeptics who will be thinking, well, they're not even spending it and they're just sticking in their pocket, and that's profits before people and all this here sort of thing. I think if you were able to get together and agree on what we should be doing, then certainly we'll very much support that as much as we possibly can. But well done. Well done.
Say as well, just a massive thank you.